Alright, hey guys, so today is day 33 of Road to Grandmaster. Yeah, it's been a long time I didn't update um, my video, training videos. Yeah, so recently I was, um, you know, playing more blitz game or rapid game, playing more than training, yeah. So, um, so after long rest, I have to get back to my training, right? To keep improving. All right. So today we're gonna look at an rook and pawn endgame. Right. So it's Akiba Rubinstein masterpiece. Right. So Tartakower, or which is a chess player, I think he's a grandmaster. Right? So say that Rubinstein is a rook ending god. So yeah, so let's look at today's examples. So today's examples, um, today's this the games today is an example from the creative work of the outstanding Polish grandmaster, right, which is Rubinstein. So yeah, right, and basically, in this game, his opponent, right, which is Spielmann, another very strong grandmaster, say that Rubinstein, like Rubinstein rook and pawn game is basically witchcraft, right? So let's look at this game. So this game was played by Spielmann and Spielmann versus Rubinstein. So Rubinstein was black pieces, right, and it's black's turn in this position. So let's take a look about this position. Right, take a look at this position. A positional disadvantage that occurs often is an abundance of pawn islands. So in this case, white has 4 pawn islands versus black's 2. Right? So this means that white has more vulnerable pawns that cannot protect each other. Therefore, black is actually slightly better in this position. Right? Let's see how Rubinstein convert this advantage. So rook a8 was played in the game. The first stage of black's plan is to attack white's pawn so that the white rook will be tied out, right, of their protection. Right? Rook b3 is a move that wins material right away. However, it is not a great move because now there's this rook a2, rook d3. You win material, but white has an outside pass pawn. a4 takes a5, and you have to bring your rook back to defend the pawn, and your rook must stay passively on a8. And the good news for white is white got a rook behind the pawn. Right? So this is not what black wants. Right? So instead of winning material, you want to tie down opponent rook. Right? So rook a8 is a good move here. So rook c3 was played in the game. Now white pieces thinks that the rook stands even worse on a2, right, and explains this judgment with the line rook a2, rook a4. Yeah, it's true. Now your rook is behind the pawn. However, in this case, your pawn is still on a3, and black's rooks got more space or more activity compared to the white rook. So this is also not. This is just not what white wants, because now your rook is so passive and it's being tied down to defend his pawn. So king g3, king e7. Again, taking the material is not a great idea in this position because of a4. Right, we have an outside pass pawn and we have rook behind the pawn. So instead, we just simply brings our king e7, king f3, king e6, king e4, d5 check, king e3, king f5. Alright, however, the final position of this line is far from clear. Right, and secondly, instead of king e3, white can also play king d3. Right, after king f5. So if king d6, then we go king c3, king c6, king d3, king d5, rook b2 check. Right, so king f5, we go king c3, king e4, and now we go rook e2 check. As we can see, the rook behind the pawn, yeah, I mean, it is passive here, but it has some hidden potency, right? Although it is currently passive, right? And also it sort of so the rook is also like sort of chain black rook, right? So yeah, so black rook can't leave the a4 square. In this position, Levenfish and Simsloth also analyzed the move g5 here instead of d5 check. This continuation is more dangerous, but their line shows that white maintains sufficient defensive resource. So let's see, rook a1, f6, rook a2, f5 check, king d3, king d5, king c3, rook c4 check, king b3, takes a4, check. Right, if you go king c6, we go a5. Right, then you have to bring the king to defend the pass pawn. Now rook a5, rook f4, rook d5, takes, check, takes, rook g6, g4. If you take our g7 pawn, then we take the a6 pawn. So king b5, check, and king a4, and the position is actually equal. Right, sorry, actually king a5. Yeah, not king a4, because you need to keep defending the pawn. Right, so king a5 was the move. So instead of king c6 in this position, we go check, king b4, takes, a5, rook h8, king e4, a7, rook a8. Right, yes, our rook is being tied down here, but maybe we got some composition, like we have a more active king. So king b5, king f3, king b6, and again the position is actually equal. However, the rook on the third rank has its own virtues, right? Rook c3, right? Only Spielman fails to exploit them in a further process. So rook a4 is played in the game. Rook d3, right? So rook a4 is just a great move to sort of tie down the rook to d3. Now king e7, the second stage. The king goes to the center. King g3, d5 is met with g5. So the idea of d5 is we sort of prevent king f6 because we go rook f3 check, and the king has to go back to e7 to protect the f7 pawn. However, we can play the move g5 here, and then we have the g6 square. And now rook d4 is a huge threat. Rook d3, f6, good move, followed by king f5, and black is better. So king g3 was played in the game, king e6, and now king f3. So Doretsky, who wrote this book, Doretsky Engel Manual, thinks this is a bad move, king f3. Right? He said this is an obvious positional error that was somehow left unnoticed by the annotators. Right, letting the black king pass to d5. Right, white condemns himself to a passive defense. Right, white could get an excellent chance for a draw by playing the move rook e3 check instead. So let's see, rook e3 check, king d7. So if you go king d5 and rook e7, so king d7, we go rook f3. Yeah. So either rook f3 or either rook f3, f6, d5, rook d4, rook b3, or rook d3. King c6, rook c2 check, king d5, rook c7 check, king g2, king e6, d5, rook d7, and then h4. Right, maybe white have some drawing chances because he exchanged some pawns and then he just down a pawn. Yeah, so maybe there's some drawing chances, and it's quite hard for black to make progress. He can't move his king, can't move his rook, so maybe it's a draw. Right. Yeah, so king d5 after king f3, then black simply play king d5. Now king e2, another inaccuracy. A good idea was to restrain black's pawn on the king side by playing the move h4. Good move. Now it's worth mentioning that here, as well as later on, white was not afraid of the move rook takes d4 because he has a distant pass pawn, or what we call outside pass pawn, in a pawn endgame after the move king f3. Oh, sorry, king e3. So h4 should be better, but king e2 was played in the game, and now g5, good move. So the third stage of the plan, it is important to improve the pawn structure on the king side. Now rook b3 was played. f6, good move. Secure the king side, or like improve the pawn structure in the king side last. Okay, so f6 is a good move. Rook takes d4 would be a mistake because rook b5 check or rook d3. In case of king takes d4, rook b7, white has considerably reduced the number of pawns. Although Kasparov claims the ending after f6, right, rook takes a3 is a mistake because rook takes g7, and black is still slightly better, but there are some drawing chances. Right. White has some good drawing chances. Right. So f6 takes h4, good move. Takes, check, king c3, rook takes h4, rook a2. Kasparov say it is one for black. It is winning position for black. It is not clear whether this judgment is correct. Right. In addition, black should take rook g3, in this position. Beware of rook g3 with the idea of rook g4, skewer the king and the rook. So rook a5, a4. Right, this is also a move. You can't take because rook g4. Right, so it is unclear. However, Rubinstein move is safer. f6. Right, rook b7 can be met by rook takes a3, takes on g7, takes on h3. If king takes d4, bring us to the line that we mentioned before, that we just say before, right? So b7. Yeah. So basically we've seen this slide before. So f6 was playing the game. If rook b7, then now rook takes a3. So rook takes h3. Rook g6. If rook f7, there's king e6 and f5. Check here, king e4. And then followed by g4, rook f3. Like it's simply, I would say it's winning, right? So king, rook f7. So if rook g6, then we again we go king e6, rook g8, rook h4, king e3, king d5. This position, as Kasparov has proven, is winning. And yeah, so the one who fights for a win should avoid pawn exchange. So in the case just now, like king takes d4. Just let me find it. Yeah, in this case, at least white has exchanged more pawn. However, in this case, there's still some pawns, so black is actually winning, right, compared to the king takes d4 line. Right. However, in the game, king e3 was played. King e3 was played because, as we saw, rook b7 doesn't work. So king c4, rook d3. If rook b7, then we check. King e4, d5 check. King a5, we takes, rook f3 checks. And this is basically just hopeless because this pawn will fall and this pawn will fall, and we simply up 3 pawns. So rook d3 was playing the game, and now d5. Black has improved his pawn structure and optimally placed his king. Now it is time for the rook. It has complete its mission on a4 and may find a new application for its talents. Right, so king d2 was played in the game, rook a8, king c2. King e2 is a mistake because of rook b8. King d2, rook b2 check. King e3, rook takes f2. It's winning, or rook a2, or the most the clearest one, rook b3, exchange the rook, and then it's just winning after takes, king takes, and it's just completely winning because after take the a pawn, this is just winning king and pawn game. Black has out a pawn. Alright, so king c2 was played in the game. Right, rook a7, good move. King d2, rook e7, and now it's kind of like a zugzwang, because you can't move the king, you can't move the pawn, you can't move the rook also because of d pawn fall, you can't move this pawn or this pawn. Right, so rook c3 check, the last chance to display activity. A continual passive policy would have led to an glorious demise. Right. For instance, king c2, you go check, takes, king b3, and it's just winning, right? As I mentioned just now. So if you play some move like rook e3, okay, then we simply take. Basically, king and pawn in game is just winning, so we can always trade the rooks. Rook b7 was also a good move, by the way, but this is just the most simple one. Takes. If king takes, king b3, so pawn takes, f5. King c2, g6, and now it's zugzwang. So black has two waiting moves, f5 and g6, and now it's zugzwang, right? Because black's the one who gets the opposition, right? So if you go king d2, then king b3. If you go king b2, then g4. Black's just totally winning. So rook c3 is basically the last chance. King takes d4, obviously, is a free pawn. Now a4, good move. Rook a7, rook a3, rook a5. The pawn must be stopped as soon as possible. So right now, black intends to approach it with his king. Either simplify for winning it. Either simply for winning it, or for blocking it and releasing the rook from its passive position. So either you can win it, or you block the pawn with the king, and then you activate your rook. Alright, so rook a1 was played in the game. King c4, black started to doing that. King e3. Alright, rook c1 is actually better. Rook c1 is actually will have more a better chance to draw the game. So king b4, rook b1 check, good move. The idea is after king takes a4, you cut off the king. So at least you get some compensation, and you go king d3. Alright. This line deserves attention. So it's still unclear. I mean, alright. Rook b7, rook b5 is not so good, and then the black king gets back to the game. So king d3. The position of the black kings on the edge could give some practical chance for white. For example, after the move rook b5, which is a mistake, we go rook a1 check, king b4, king d4. It was black playing for a draw. It was black fight for a draw now, because rook b maybe rook b1 is a threat, and after takes, right? Or maybe black is in zugzwang, because you can't move the rook because of rook b1 check, and we can win the rook. If you move the pawn, yeah, I guess we just check, takes, and then go takes this pawn like this. Right. So yeah, so in this position, right, Levenfish and Simslov analyze the move rook c5. Rook c5, yes. After king d4, now rook b7 is a mistake, because rook c4 takes king b5. The king gets the king is back into the game. So we have king d4, rook c2, rook b7, takes. So in their opinion, white maintains chance for a draw. However, Kasparov extended this line with rook d2 check, king c5, king b3, rook g6, king c3, rook takes f6, d4, and evaluated the final position as winning. However, it is incorrect because white saves himself by playing the move rook a6. Now, if you go d3, we go check. King b2, king b4, rook d1, rook b3 check, or rook c3. Okay, we go rook b3 check, king a2, king c2, then king c4, d2, rook c3 check, king b2 check, king a2, king c3, and it is the position is equal, right? Because yeah, we're threatening just to go rook b2 check. You can't move the rook because we just take the pawn. If you move the rook, then we go check and take. If you go to c1, we check, we take on d2 and attack your rook. So you can never win the rook. So it's actually a draw. If let's say in this position you go king d3, trying to escape with your king, then why has this move king d5 to take the opposition? King e3 check, king f4, rook f6 check, king g3, rook g6, and the position is equal. Right? It seems that in spite of previous arrows, Spielmann's position remained tenable. Alright, so let's go back. Yeah, so check takes. In this position, a4 was sorry, a4. Yeah, okay. So in this position, rook c1 check was still has some chance, right? However, king e3 was playing the game, which is not a great move. It's an inaccuracy. And now we go d4. d4 is happening in the game. King d2, rook f5, good move. Black's precise move tells the rook may leave the blockade position. Right, why? Let's say a5 in this position, then takes. King e1, rook b2, rather than rook h2, rook a4, and then a6. So rook b2 is important. a6, rook b8, a7, rook a8. Yeah, now our rook is passive, it's true. However, we can simply go take that pawn. King takes d4 and rook takes a7. This is what Spielmann thought. However, maybe he still has some chance if you go rook b1 check. King takes a7, then you go king takes d4. Now it's the same thing here, the king's got cut off. Alright, so yeah, actually this is more stubborn, and yeah, black is slightly better, but black's win is still not a simple matter. Alright, so king e1 was played in the game. Instead, white protect the pawn on f2. King b4, good move, a typical reassignment of pieces. Right, the king will block the passed pawn while the rook will attack white weak pawn. So yeah, before this the rook is being tied down to defend the pawn. Now we give this job to king, and the rook is free. So king e2, now king a5. Right, rook a3 was playing the game. After rook b1 takes, rook b1 to cut off the king takes, rook b7, and now you get some counter play. Kasparov suggests the move d3, takes, check, sorry, not check, rook takes f2, and check now, king e4, takes, and yeah, and said black is better. However, this line is erroneous because after checks, white holds by playing king c4 instead. And now white is threatening checkmate, so you can't take the pawn actually. So you have to move the king away. King a3, if rook f4 check, then king d5, and then the king go to e6, and then the f pawn will die after rook f7 or rook g6, and it is a draw. So king a3, and now the same thing, rook g6, and then white king just go attack the f pawn, and the position is equal. However, after the move rook b7, g6 is just much stronger. Alright, so in the game, rook a3 was played. We have rook f4, rook a2. If white trying to save the h3 pawn by playing king f1 instead, rook h4, king g2, and now we go king b4, rook a1, d3, a5, d2, a6, rook h8, a7, if king f1, rook king c3, so, and then we'll go rook a8, and then next move we simply take the pawn. You can't take the rook because we just promote, and now black's just winning. Black's clearly winning. He's up 2 pawn. He has a passed pawn, so it's clearly winning. So rook a2 was played in the game instead of king f1. Rook h4. Now we just go attack the pawn. We have king d3. Yeah, because if you go rook a3, there's king b4. If you move the rook away, we take the pawn. If you defend this pawn, then we take the a pawn. I think black's clearly better. King d3 was played. Takes. Rook h4 check. King d3 was played. If king e3, we take rook d2, trying your last chance, rook d7. However, black can simply go king c7, good move, with the idea of rook d7, rook a7, and black's winning. So king d3 was played. We have rook takes a4, rook e2, trying to go rook e7, and now rook f4. Great move. In this case, king b6 doesn't work because of rook e6 check, followed by rook e7. Right? So rook f4 instead. You can't move your rook because your f pawn fall. So king e3 was played in the game. Then we simply brings our king back, king b6, rook c2, trying to play rook c8 and rook g8, attack this pawn. This plan is very hidden, so it's not easy to see it. It's very nasty. However, black simply play good move, king b7, accurate to the last. Black prevents the manual rook c8, rook g8, and prepares to cross the c file with his king after rook a4, rook a6, rook c6. Alright, so rook c1 was played in the game, rook a4, blacks follow his plan, rook h1, king c6, rook h7, rook a7, king e4, king d6, king f5 was played, and now simply g6, good move, takes, we trade everything, and this is just a completely winning king and pawn endgame. King e5, king g6, g4, and it was in this position, white resign, black win. So it's a very instructive and very complicated rook and pawn endgame. Alright, so and yeah, a very complicated rook and pawn endgame. Alright, so rook and pawn endgame is actually the I'll say the hardest endgame to learn, maybe. Alright. Okay, or maybe the rook and pawn endgame is the most often happen in a real game, right? Because usually we don't use rook in a middle game, right? Usually, right? So rook and pawn endgame is the most often happen in a real game. So it's very good to learn them, and also it's very hard and very complicated. Right. So this is the game today, a masterpiece by Akiba Rubinstein. Alright, so that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something and enjoy. So yeah, that's all for today, and take care.